Have you heard the horror stories about cleaning up after black powder? Is that what's stopping you from trying it out? Why don't we just find out for real? Get the truth. Figure it out. Let's try that. One guy told me that cleaning black powder was an absolute nightmare. You want to know what's tough to clean? This stuff. This is tough to clean. Well, I guess if I'm going to show you guys how easy it is to clean the black powder rifle, first thing I'm going to do is get it dirty for you. Let's have a little fun. First thing you'll notice is that we have to wipe our bore between each shot. So we're kind of cleaning as we go. See all that black gunk on there? We can't shoot another shot with that stuff in the barrel. It needs to come out. And I know some of you guys blow tube and you'll tell me, well, I just use a blow tube. And that's true, I guess, but you are hydrating that fouling just the same, right? So if you're not using a blow tube, if you're running the Buffalo Arms bore wiper system, or you're doing like I am right here with patches, I'm going to run 2 wet patches and then a dry patch between each shot. Your bore is basically clean for the next round. And this is one of the major differences about black powder. Black powder is not a good sport for people who demand instant gratification, because you have to set your bore, you have to prep your bore for each shot. So if I send a round and it misses, I can't just throw another round in the gun and go. I have to go through this whole routine to shoot. Black powder shooting is very deliberate, and it starts with the cleaning and the prep process. See, we're done now. Ready to send another round. Let's try it out. We run our first patch, and I want you to see that thing comes out of there really dirty, right? It's got all that fouling on there. So we bump it off the end of the rod. It falls down into our little tray down there. We are not littering. Okay, so I'm going to take my second patch, and I'm going to run this down the barrel. And just about when I'm fixing to go too far, my patch is sticking out the end a little bit, and I have this marked on my rod here. I'm going to pull it back to the chamber again. And the object of this is to wipe the back side of the rifling, right? Here's my second patch. Okay, and I can actually just run this down the barrel again. Next step is to take my rag, wipe off the rod, okay, because now it had cleaning fluid all over it. Impro 7, in case you're wondering. Dry patch, okay? And I'm using a particular jag. I like this jag from Montana Arms. It's long, so you can see this thing's like 1.5 inches long, and it's all the same diameter. And with a 3-inch patch, it holds all this patch against the barrel. So I get a lot of cleaning action, right? I'm not trying to get by with a small patch. So I'm gonna make sure my chamber's dry. And we're gonna run this bad boy down and out, and it just goes into the tray. And I'm ready to shoot again. Loaded round into the chamber, and there you go. Black powder is not a good sport for people who demand instant gratification. This is a very, very deliberate way of shooting. And it's a process, and you do the same things each time, and being consistent and doing everything the same is one of the things that's going to make you really good at black powder shooting, and cleaning is a huge part of that. We go through a cleaning process for every shot, and when we get home, we're going to clean our rifle, and we have to clean this dirty brass. We can't let those items sit. Like smokeless guys can just go home and throw their stuff in the closet and let it sit for a week and then clean it. We actually can't. We need to clean it right away. But the good news is the cleanup on the rifle and the cleanup on the brass is really easy to do. Doesn't really take all that much time or effort. So let's keep on. Okay, so here we've got our rifle in our stand. I like this stand a lot. It's very sturdy to work on, and it will support the weight of a human body, so I know that my rifle's not going anywhere once I put it up in here. I'm going to snug that up right there. I've got a 1/16 hex head, which for the CPA, that's the right size to take out this little set screw right here, which is going to allow our, I'm just going to loosen it, I'm not taking it all the way out, but that's going to allow this pin to drift out, and that will release the block and the extractor from the rifle. So we pull the pin out, there we go, put this down on our towel, and we basically just lift everything out. The block and the extractor come out like this right here, and we can clean these guys separately. Now there's another dowel pin right there. If we want to, we can take that bad boy out and clean these two parts here separately. So let's just give it a little push. Doesn't really, I need a little smaller one. Those two are the same size. Let's push this bad boy here. Okay, we're back, and we got that pin drifted out to the side, and here's the inside of our block. There's our breech face right there, and our lever. And this has a little spring-loaded doohickey right here. So we put these guys down to the side. We will clean those independent. So the first thing I guess I want to do is turn this bad boy back over and slide my scope all the way up. And I've used all these products to clean with. One thing I like to do is put a old ketchup bottle over the muzzle of the rifle so that when this brush comes out, it doesn't fling solvent everywhere. And then my dogs are out here running around and they get it all over themselves, and you know, they don't know what it is or whatever. One of the cleaners I use the most is Cowboy blend from Montana Xtreme. Does a really good job as a like an everyday cleaner. CLP does me really good too. I like it. Gunzilla is a CLP product, and it's a really high grade CLP. This stuff is awesome, especially if you suspect that there's any lead in your barrel. You run your brush with Gunzilla here, let it sit for a little while, maybe an hour, and then start running patches, and you'll find out that stuff takes lead right out. Old favorite Ballistol, used it forever. I have gallons of that around. This is a new one. I haven't tried it all that much, but I picked it up while I was in Arizona to try out. And of course, Old Hoppy's number 9, we use that fairly frequently or so. That's about the most aggressive cleaner I use, actually, is Hoppy's. Now, one of the other things I have is a bunch of these little pipettes from Amazon, and these are super handy because this allows you to control how much fluid is going where, right? So when I'm going to clean my barrel, I generally get about yay much in there, and I'm going to start my brush out and then use the pipette to gun that solution into the bore. And I'm just going to start stroking the bore now. And we got that in there pretty good. We can go ahead and put this down. Now, while the barrel is soaking, what I'm going to do is I'm going to again get my little pipette full of stuff, and I'm going to get some on my brush, just a little there, and we're going to work inside the action. Scrub down all parts, and this should look pretty familiar to a bunch of you guys. You know, this isn't really much different than cleaning out a smokeless rifle. Yeah, and then I'm going to turn the rifle over and do it again. And when I turn it over, I'm letting it sit on that scope ring. I don't want to rest the barrel on the scope, and just clean this stuff. Now I want you to notice that so far we have not used any boiling water. We have not got any crazy chemicals out that we're, you know, trying to neutralize black powder. The black powder is neutralized, okay? It gets neutralized when you clean it. There's our extractor. We'll make sure that's nice and clean right there. So we'll scrub down the breech face, the block, set them all down the side. And honestly, that's about it. I'm gonna start using my Q-tips to clean out the mortise well here. Make sure I get in all the little nooks and crannies. I like these pointy Q-tips, but regular Q-tips work just fine. I used them for years. I buy those by the, you know, by the box. They're a good deal. Let's get another one. Get up in here by that little extractor well. And make sure that we have everything out of there. There's no dirt hanging around in there, because dirt is just dirt. We're going to clean out inside these holes. Right? Looking good. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is get my rag and wipe off these other parts. All right, so our extractor looks good, nice and clean. Then we've got our block right here. We're going to wipe all the solution off of that. Take one of our Q-tips, and we're going to make sure that the hole where the dowel pins go through is nice and cleaned out. Yeah, make sure we rubbed everything really good. A little bit of stuff coming up in there. Other than that, looking good. Let's get our lever, dry this off, and there we go. Looking okay. Check it with a clean one. I think we're good enough to start running patches. So let's turn our rifle over, and we're going to swap out our brush for our Montana Xtreme Jag. And like I was talking about out there on the range, this thing is nice and long, and it forces the entire patch into contact with the bore and won't let it just ride loose in there, right? So you're getting good scrubbing action. All right, so I've got just a few patches here, and what we're going to do is wipe off our cleaning rod from all that stuff that's on there, and we'll take and center up a patch and put it on there. And I want you to see this, because this is kind of a good trick. We're going to take some solution in our pipette and make a little ring around here so that we know this patch is good and wet with cleaning solution. Now I know there's a bunch in the bore. We're going to use a little more. And this guy's going to go in there, and we're going to run it to the end and back. I can take my bottle off now. Here's a trick that I do, is take a towel and put it on the end of the rifle so that I can't inadvertently push the patch all the way through, because I want to scrub pretty good with this wet patch. Now remember, when we left the range, we ran 2 wet patches and a dry patch, right? Just like we were getting ready to shoot another shot. Now we've been scrubbing with this guy. And let's see what we've got here. Whoops. This is patch number 1. Okay, you guys can see that. It's not terribly dirty. So we're going to do the exact same thing again. We're going to get our patch up on there. We're going to get some solution and spread it out with our pipette. There we go. Same thing again. Now, a lot of times, if I've been out and I've shot a lot of ammo, I'll be doing this, and I might get 6 patches before the barrel's clean, and I may let the barrel sit for a couple hours with some good solution in there and a brush, and just work that brush back and forth a few times during that time, and that really seems to help a lot. And here's patch number 2. When we were shooting black powder, there's number 2 right there. So I'm going to do one more with our cleaning solution. And you can do this same trick with any one of these solutions. I've used them all. I like them all. Sometimes I use a different one just to change things up. It's not because I think that one, you know, is really super better than the others or anything like that. They all work, actually. Everything on that table works and works good. So here we're getting on our third patch. I don't feel anything in the barrel. Like sometimes you'll feel stuff in the barrel where the patch will slow down. It'll be like there's some drag in there. That's usually a pretty good sign of fouling or leading, but I don't have that sign. So I don't feel anything like that. Here's patch number 3. There's a little discoloration, but not a lot, honestly. So number 4 here, I'm gonna try and just run a dry patch, honestly. And I'm really kind of I mean, there's a few faint marks, but I really feel like I'm there. I can run one more. This will be patch number 5. Whoops. And again, just the tiniest marks. Nothing to get too worried about. I'm ready to reassemble this rifle and put it back in the case. Or back in the safe. Sorry. Toby, that's enough. Dog's mom just came home, so they're very excited. There's our rifle. It's back together. Last things to do, turn our little set screw back in. Bingo. Don't crank it down. It's not a lug nut. Bingo. Everything works. Rifle's clean. Wipe down the barrel and the wood. Okay, you guys, so the last thing we have to do with cleaning our rifle is get it oiled up. So I've got a patch here, and gonna go ahead and oil it up. We're gonna use the Gunzilla on this. I've been trying this out, and I really like it. I'm not totally convinced that it's light years better than Ballistol or CLP, but it really does seem to work, and I really like it. So I'm running this oiled patch through the bore, and what I want to do is I want to run it up and down there a few times, 2 or 3 times. Then I'm just going to have a look, and you guys can see, I mean, that's pretty dang clean, right? So I'm going to save that patch to do the outside of the barrel with. Bring this out, wipe it off. We're done with this now. But I do need to get down inside the action, and all three of these oils seem to do a really good job of penetrating down into the metal work and getting everywhere that you kind of got to go, right? So I'm just going to take one and get me some oil, get that tip soaked up real good, and we're going to start working down in here a little bit. Going to work the extractor inside the extractor cut around the breech face there, down along the block, right in the shaft, inside that it rides up and down in. Now we don't have to worry about getting every single nook and cranny because this oil, like I said, will spread around down there. It'll do that on its own. I like to go up inside here too a little bit because you have these pins, right? We want to make sure that we kind of get enough so that once it starts spreading, it's pretty much everywhere. And then we'll just work the action a couple times, honestly. And I'm going to put this rifle away and let it sit. And after a few days, generally after shooting 2-3 days down the road, I do bring it down or bring it out of the safe and look it over a little bit and make sure that it's still looking good and clean. I might run another patch down the bore if I feel I need to. But other than that, you know, that's it. We're just going to wipe down. We're actually going to have to hit this with a dry patch here. Take a little of that oil off. We just kind of soak things. That's all right. A little oil is going to be a good protectant. It's going to help her keep looking nice, not have fingerprints soaking into the blue or anything like that. And that's it, you guys. We're done. She goes back in the safe. All right, so if you're sitting on the fence because you're afraid to clean black powder, I'm telling you, it's not an excuse. It just isn't very tough to clean black powder at all. Partly because of the method we use while we're shooting, whether you're running bore wipers or patches. Hell, some guys even blow tube, and they still don't have that big of a cleanup mess when they get home. Now, when you get home, you do need to clean your rifle, and you do need to throw your brass in a tumbler, but you should have already been doing that anyway, right? Even with smokeless powder. So cleaning black powder and being scared of that little bit of voodoo is not a reason to stay out of the pool. Come on in, you guys. We'd love to have you, and I'll see you next time on Recoil Therapy. Right. Wow.